episode of the Retro Craptacular podcast, where each month we continue our search for the best bad movies on the planet Earth. I am your host, Aaron, and I am joined on this beautiful October morning, it's November, by Matt.
Good morning. And, good day to you, listener, whenever you choose to listen to this episode of the Retro Craptacular. Wow, it was a very different intro. I got thrown.
Me too. I was trying to do a bit of a morning show thing, and it did not work. So
yeah, I think the term
I will stick to
tanked.
Late night instead.
Oh, yes.
Welcome, listener, to another sexy evening of shitty movies and two dudes talking about them.
Good evening. Good evening, Aaron.
Yes, so I'm going to start off by congratulating our friends to the south on their new president.
And vice president.
Yes, very
Big
good.
Time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She set three firsts.
Yeah.
First woman, first African American woman, first Asian woman.
Yep.
She's a triple threat. It's great.
Yeah, that is, hopefully a sign of progress that we do not see that country slide back on.
It's important to remember the bad times in the good times. And I think, I don't want to get all political on you, but this is like the end of Return of the Jedi right now, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Do not let the First Order rise.
Right.
Okay? Keep an eye out on the unknown
Strangely
regions.
Appropriate, yeah.
I know, right? I'm talking about unknown regions. You got your Texas. You got your Florida. You got your Idaho, probably. I'm not sure what's going on in the middle. There's whatever. Anyways, that's enough politics talk for today. But congratulations, America. Very happy for you.
Yeah. I'm curious, actually. Where were you when you found out, and how did you find out? I'm curious. That it was official, I mean.
Oh, it was very unmomentous for me. I was on my couch. I opened my phone. Decided to check the election stats again for the 150th time that day.
Like a normal person, yeah.
Yeah. And I saw that he had like 290 or something like that. And I was like, oh, shit, that's great.
Nice.
I was a little bit bummed because I had been posting on my Facebook story a great Bill Murray meme. It was a picture of him in Groundhog Day, and it said, well, it's election day again. And I was like, that's funny. I'm going to post this every day until the president is officially announced. And then it was like, I only got to do it like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh.
Still a good poll.
It was. I immediately texted my dad. I said, happy birthday, Dad. Did you hear the good news? And he hadn't.
Oh, you got to break it to him. Nice.
I got to break it to him. Yeah, he was having a lazy birthday breakfast in bed kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Having a good time. So yeah, no, it was a fun. You get to treat him on his birthday to some good news. But
lovely. Well, I am not a normal person, in that I was not checking the election stats at all. I just have a thing about not wanting to. I don't handle news well. I don't handle bad. I'm just gonna say that. I just don't seek it out. And I would just I heard that it was election time, and it's just like the pessimist in me is like, big deal. He shouldn't have been in before. He shouldn't be in now. Who knows what's gonna happen? But then how I found out that it was official was my wife Mackenzie messaged me an Instagram post by John Mulaney. And it was a picture of a horse walking away.
From a hospital?
Just walking away from the point of view. And the caption was, and stay out. And I looked at it for a second and was like, oh, wonderful. And
yeah,
it took me a second, but it was a great way to find out.
the sweetest like cream on top of this already amazing cheesecake of victory was the photo of Trump holding his concession press conference outside of like a back alley of a lawnscaping shop next to an adult bookstore.
What?
Look it up. I'm going to text it to you right now.
Oh, okay.
It is the happiest you will ever be. Is looking at this photo.
Just there because, like, that's the only place he could do it? Or
I don't know why. Honestly,
or is it because he just never planned for it? So it was all, like, last minute or something.
Yeah, could be that. Like, honestly, I don't know.
What the frick?
No one has offered any explanation.
Next to adult bookstore. Yeah.
What a fucking headline, too, right? Can you imagine getting to write that headline as a journalist? Like, that would make your life. Trump team holds news conference outside drab landscaping firm next to adult bookstore. Thank you, writers at Slate. Oh, my God.
That's phenomenal. My goodness.
All right, now it's really enough politics talk. Let's talk about shit that really matters. Media consumption.
Yeah, what a 180.
Not non-news media consumption. What have you been watching?
Yeah. Well, I mean, since we last cast our pod, season 2 of The Mandalorian has started airing.
Ooh, yes. Did you see both episodes?
Absolutely. Yeah. 2 episodes in now, and I mean, yeah, I still love it.
I'm loving it too. Episode 1, amazing. Might be my favorite episode of the show so far.
Yeah, it was great. It was really well done.
It's tied with probably the finale of season 1 for me. It's really good.
Wow.
Episode 2 I wasn't as crazy about, but did you notice a fun cameo?
By Dave Filoni?
That's a fun cameo. He already did that cameo in season 1. I'm talking about a different cameo.
Oh, was it the other X-Wing pilot?
The other X-Wing pilot. Did you recognize him?
Is that the dad from Kim's Convenience?
It's Mr. Kim!
Oh, I thought it was, but I wasn't sure, and then I forgot to look it up when the episode was over.
I was looking at it, right? Because I've only seen him in Kim's Convenience, so in my mind, he has a thick Korean accent.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
And so I'm like, so he's talking with a completely flat American accent, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's him. It looks like him. Doesn't sound like him at all. So then I looked it up while I'm watching it. This is at midnight while I'm watching it, right?
Of course.
And I'm looking it up on IMDb. It's not on his IMDb. I'm like, okay, it's not him. It's just it's someone who looks like me. I mean, it's probably someone that works at Lucasfilm or something like that, and it's another fun cameo. Because Dave Filoni's in there. I'm like, so they probably went into the office and got someone from ILM to be like, hey, Dave, come over here, get in the.
Yeah.
But then the actor that plays Jung on Kim's Convenience tweeted a photo of him in the cockpit with the caption "Sneak Attack," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I went and checked IMDb, and then it had been updated on IMDb, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!"
Oh man, yeah, I thought as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Is that him?" But then I heard his voice, and I was like, "No, it's probably not." But I love that it was. That's so fun.
I'm like, dude, big ups to your agent for getting you that.
Yeah, no kidding. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that episode just because it was so different. There was more interaction about what it actually means for the Republic to be in charge, and just kind of it was like he was being pulled over by the cops. That's what it was, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And it was it's that same situation of being oh, the cops pulled us over. It's routine, but they don't know that I have I stole this car and I got an illegal immigrant in the back and a bunch of drugs under the seat, and
yeah,
it had that feeling.
A scenario we can all relate to.
Yeah, well, that's a Thursday for me. And then of course, yeah.
Look, the pandemic's been rough for jobs. All right, some of us got to take all kinds of work.
Yeah, we're just
for
trying to get
for
by.
you. It's running drugs and illegals.
Yeah, which...
But not like across a border, just kind of driving them around Toronto.
Yeah, it's a taxi
Yeah.
service. It's an off-the-books taxi service.
Yeah, but you can't be documented if you're going to ride in this. And you have to have drugs with you.
Yes, well, that's how I take my payment. That's why the drugs are in there.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought maybe it's just like an adrenaline thing for you, where it's like, driving around undocumented people isn't enough of a thrill, because I'll just get a slap on the wrist. They'll get deported, but then, gotta get some meth involved.
Yeah, that's me. Driving around rush hour Toronto traffic isn't stressful enough. I need some blow.
You need to add federal crimes to the to the list of. Oh yeah,
It's not enough of a thrill. Oh gosh.
So, anyways, yeah, it was a pretty good episode. It was,
It was skin crawly.
It was. Apparently, those spiders things were like designed for The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh really?
Originally, yeah, Ralph McQuarrie just like drew them.
That's something I really like about The Mandalorian is they're just like taking leftover bits from all sorts of aspects of the franchise and be like, what can we put in here?
Well, for sure. I mean, like since the since Disney took over, and then the people who've been making Star Wars now have been fans of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They've recycled a lot of things. Like I don't really, it's not a secret that I kind of despise the Rise of Skywalker, but I love that Poe's X-wing paint scheme in that movie is a throwback to the original X-wing painting that Ralph McQuarrie did for the original Star Wars, like the orange and white.
Cool.
I think that's really, really cool and a fun nod. And they've done that a whole bunch through Rebels. I think the Ghost was an original concept for the Millennium Falcon, and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah.
Nifty tidbits.
Yeah, well, and then, the Mandalorian's weapon is the same weapon that Boba Fett uses in the Christmas special,
Yeah, totally.
the holiday special.
Yeah.
And they've brought in some, like, Kenner toys that were just, toys that were made up and were never actually in
like
the movies.
The trooper transport.
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
That was
Specifically,
only ever
yeah.
a toy until
Yeah.
the Mandalorian brought it to life.
Actually, I think they brought it out in Rebels first.
Mm.
I think it was in Rebels first,
Oh, that's
and then
right.
they jumped into...
Yeah, there was
The
an episode where
Mandalorian,
they
yeah.
use it to like transport prisoners or something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the outside of the
Yeah,
truck.
seems real dumb, but I guess
Whatever.
they're making do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I've been watching that. I also watched a thing. Do you have Amazon Prime?
No, we don't.
Okay. There is a fun show on there by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost called Truth Seekers, where Nick Frost is actually the main character, and that's kind of a fun change. Simon Pegg is kind of just like a cameo role, even though he gets second billing on the poster. But
Well, yeah.
But yeah, so and he plays Nick Frost plays a like a internet installation person who moonlights as a paranormal investigator on YouTube.
Okay.
And so he, it starts with him going in to install some Wi-Fi in this old British lady's house, and then they hear some thumping upstairs, and so they go out and do a little investigation and find a secret room in her house that's haunted, and then it just kind of goes from there, and they're like going into all these different places and finding different spirits and sort of like like cleansing places of spirits and stuff like that. It's like a fun like kind of paranormal investigation show, and there is an overarching plot about a guy who's trying to take over everyone's mind.
Okay.
So that he can ascend to immortality and stuff. I don't know. It's pretty good.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It was good. It was good. We haven't seen anything from those guys in a while, so It was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun to see that gang back together, and it's funny.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing to. Yeah, it wasn't to not have Simon Pegg and him back together. Like I feel like it would have been a lot funnier to have those two guys back together. But no, it's good. I like it. Definitely recommend checking it out. I watched the whole thing in a day.
Oh, wow.
Like just on a Saturday, I started watching it and I just went all the way through it.
Whew.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed has kind of been really awesome lately is the Warner Brothers YouTube channel.
Okay.
So
Warner
they have
Brothers
been
YouTube channel.
Yeah, for the last like couple months, they've just been uploading like feature-length documentaries, like behind the scenes on like all their movies. Like I think the first one I noticed was they uploaded one that was a behind-the-scenes look at the Dark Knight trilogy, and then they've been uploading like filmmaker documentaries. Like there's one on Stanley Kubrick, and they've done ones on on Tuesday, cheekily enough, they dropped a retrospective documentary on V for Vendetta.
Oh.
Which I'm like, oh, you cheeky bastards. Sorry, we're going to get political again for about 10 seconds, but you're dropping a documentary about overthrowing a fascist regime on the day that America goes to the polls to overthrow a fascist regime.
Mm-hmm.
Very cheeky. I love it. But yeah, they're
Warner Bros.
uploading like hour and a half long documentaries on like Mad Max, Fury Road, and like all kinds of awesome content that I'm like,
wow.
You know what? If physical media has to die, God forbid it ever will, but if it has to die, this is the level that everyone else needs to get on. Like not like, oh, cuz like, special features on Blu-rays and stuff have been they were like dropping off, and now they're kind of coming back in a way because they're trying to give you any reason to buy it, right? But there was just not enough return on investment for them to spend the time to create that content to put on a thing that not very many people were going to buy, right? So I'm a huge fan of special features. It's one of the main reasons I still collect physical media. That and the fact that I don't want people deciding what I can and can't watch. I recently bought the entire season or series of Community because we were talking about how Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is not available to watch anymore because Chang does blackface in it.
Yep.
And it is a bit of a controversial topic because he's dressed as a dark elf.
Yep, or drow.
Or a drow. But, I mean, then you can kind of go into the history of the drow and how they were created as like a kind of a racist depiction of African Americans, especially African American women.
Old Dungeons and Dragons is a scary place to delve sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean that time is just a scary place to delve, really.
Oh no, 100%. But so I understand both sides of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the overarching message in that episode about bullying and stuff like that is, I think, still really powerful.
Yeah, it's one of, if not my favorite episode of that show.
Oh, 100%. It goes top 3 easily.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, you know what? It wasn't like the studio decided to pull it or the creators decided to pull it. Netflix and Hulu decided to pull it as an attempt as like an empty gesture to try and save face a little bit, right? Like
that's the impression I got. Yeah, I didn't look into it too much, but that's what it felt like to me, someone who is not affected by that depiction. So
yeah, well, and I think they did it kind of right as the Black Lives Matter movement was heating up again.
Oh, absolutely,
They did it as a way to sort of be like, oh yeah, we stand with you and support you. We're not going to give you any money or do anything in any way to help you, But look at what we did. We took down an Asian man in blackface. And I think 30 Rock, also, there was an episode where someone wore blackface, and they took that episode down, too, on Netflix and Hulu. But anyways, Warner Brothers YouTube channel. Check it out. Really good stuff.
Cool.
The other thing, I got a couple of podcasts that I've been listening to. First, maybe I'll throw it back to you. Have you been watching anything else? Anything you want to recommend?
That I want to recommend. What have I been watching? Oh, actually, interesting. I mean, this has come up several times on the show because we've actually done a movie in this franchise. But I started watching Doctor Who again.
Ooh.
It had been a really long time. I stopped watching just a few episodes after Peter Capaldi became the Doctor.
Is he the Scottish one?
He's the Scottish one.
Okay.
And so I started watching with his first episode and couldn't finish it because it was so shitty. Just horrible writing. Totally just empty plot. None of the dialogue had any heart. It was all just cliches and devices. And I was like, wow, this is utter garbage. And so instead of giving up entirely, I just skipped Peter Capaldi.
Oh, nice.
Because Mackenzie actually, my wife again, I was watching with her. She, while we were watching, was looking it up and being like, oh yeah, the showrunner changed. And apparently they suck. She's like, I'm going to look and see if they're still on there. No, they're not. When did they stop? Oh, with the new Doctor.
And the newest Doctor is Jodie Whittaker? She's still the Doctor?
Jodie Whittaker. Yep.
Okay, nice.
Or at least there are 2 seasons of her on Crave where we were watching.
Oh, sweet.
And so we started with that, and instantly so much better.
Nice.
Just interesting characters, meaningful conversations. Every episode is, wild and fantastical with the stuff they do, but grounded in reality. And then some of it is just reality. They go meet Rosa Parks in one of the episodes. It's a relevant topic to discuss.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's just a lot of important things that are being said in that series, and I was like, wow, this is good. I'm on board.
That's good.
And so I finished a season of Doctor Who, and so I would say, if you're daunted by the sheer amount of Doctor Who that there is, fuck it, just start with season 11 of the reboot and enjoy yourself because it's still good.
Sweet, yeah, man. I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but I'm so fascinated by the history of Doctor Who.
Fair. And
how they keep finding episodes that, like, the BBC had, like, taped over in the 60s or the 70s. They find these, like, master tapes in, like, an old TV relay station in Nigeria. They find a black and white film print of one. Yeah. Like,
oh man, that's wild.
Yeah, there's, like, people that have, like, dedicated their lives to tracking down, I think there's, like, 100 missing episodes or something like that, and they're, like, slowly whittling it down. I think they've found, like, 8 or 9 episodes now.
Wow.
Something like that, yeah. So that kind of stuff fascinates me, where I'm like, wow, like a pop culture archaeologist. That's so cool.
That is pretty interesting.
I doubt you get to fight any Nazis when you're out looking for...
I would hope not. Goodness.
But, still cool. You're kind of Indiana Jones still, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, really. Like, you should still get a whip.
You should still get a whip and a hat.
Don't use it. They're dangerous.
No, just have it. Yeah, you're more likely to hurt yourself probably than.
Yeah. If Balloon Shop has taught us anything.
Yeah.
Boys better
quit that whipping. But still get one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just as an accessory,
For sure. Yeah.
If Johnny Depp can wear 1,000 scarves, you can have one whip as an accessory. Yes. Well, I've been listening to a couple podcasts that I wanted to recommend. The first one, I think I've talked about it on this show before. It's called Finding Drago. It's a investigative journalism podcast from Australia, where these two comedians turn investigative journalists try to track down a mystery author who wrote a piece of Rocky IV fan fiction back in the day, and they kind of suspect that he might be a hoax author. And so it's 7 episodes long. Each episode is about 30 to 40 minutes. You can get through it in an evening if you really set your mind to it. I think I listened to most of it when I just went on a walk around the lake by my house.
Oh,
I just
nice.
I went out to do a lap, and I'm like, I'll throw this on and listen to it. And I was like so just caught up in what was going on that I think I walked around the lake like 3 times.
Nice.
Because I was like, I just want to keep listening. Anyway, so season 2 came out. Listen to the first season, Finding Drago. You probably have to search Finding Desperado right now because they're into season 2 and they're trying to track down a potentially fake Guinness World Record holder for the youngest professional feature film director.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a Guinness World Record that claims that the youngest film director was a guy named Sidney Ling, who directed a movie called Lex the Wonder Dog when he was 13.
13
in the 70s.
What?
Yeah. So, anyways, they've done the 2 episodes, and they're coming out every Thursday. And it is killing me because I listened to the first season; the whole thing was already out.
Yeah.
And I just went from episode to episode. I'm like, oh my God, what happens next? New episode. Yep. And finally, was able to finish the whole thing and didn't have to wait. And now I'm like, oh my God, seriously? You're going to make me wait a week on that note?
We're so impatient for our media content these days. Hey?
I'm like, ugh. Yeah, in a way. In a way we are. And the other podcast is another Australian podcast. It's called The Ladies' Guide to Dude Cinema. And it's these 2 female comedians who are basically watching all the movies that dudes have told them they have to see.
Oh, boy.
And
is
it
one
is...
of them Roadhouse?
No, I don't think they've done... Oh, at least I haven't gotten to Roadhouse yet, if it is on there. They've got about 90 episodes out.
Wow.
I think I've listened to about 15 so far. They're also kind of short. They start out short. They kind of get longer as they go. They're about an hour, maybe. But yeah, it is both hilarious and painful at times to listen to them talk about how they hated Raiders of the Lost Ark. But then they they hated the first Blade Runner, but they liked the second Blade Runner.
Interesting.
And things like that. And I just have to keep reminding myself, like, okay, they're not like film experts. They're not fans of these kind of movies. They're watching them A, as a joke, and B, to kind of be like, hey, dudes, don't get all indignant when ladies haven't seen Heat, because there's nothing in Heat for a woman to enjoy. It's just a bunch of dudes being dudes.
Right, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I haven't seen Heat per se, but I
really enjoy the movie. Michael Mann sucks at writing for women, so I understand why they would not enjoy it. But then also they said that it was a hideously filmed movie, and I'm like, that's just not. It's not. Nope.
They get your panties in a bunch.
So there are some, there are some moments where I just have to bite my tongue and kind of go, okay, no, I'm not going to get indignant because that's what you want. But I do not agree with your views on this.
Doing your best not to prove their point.
Yes. Trying not to like mansplain at them in my head.
Well, good for you for trying not to do that.
But then there's times where I'm like, look, there's more to Blade Runner 2049 than the fact that you find Ryan Gosling hot. And I don't care how horny this movie made you.
Dang attractive, though. Like, let's be real. This is a hot man.
He's
a hot man.
He is, yes. Yes. But anyways, overall, it is quite funny. And the guy that produces it is one of the hosts and producers of Finding Drago, and they also have another podcast called Total Reboot, where they look at reboots, remakes, and ripoffs. And that is also hilarious. And so anyway, he produces that podcast, and he jumps in on like the first 10 episodes every now and then where they're confused about the naming conventions of the Fast and the Furious movies, which fair. They make no sense.
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the first one's called The Fast and the Furious, and the fourth one's called Fast and Furious, and it's, understandable that you would maybe get those confused if you were just going through Netflix.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, let us continue our cinematic journey back in time.
Yeah, speaking of long-running franchises.
Yes, this is, fun fact, I didn't even know this, but this month is actually the 66th anniversary of Godzilla.
Whoa!
I didn't even plan this.
66th anniversary?
It just, yeah.
Happy birthday, Godzilla.
Happy birthday, Godzilla.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing a deep dive back to the year 2000. So, of course, we had to watch Godzilla 2000.
And I'm assuming this is where you're going to play the trailer?
No, I'm going to play it now.
Oh, shit.
His power is unequaled. His battles are legendary. His return is near.
This could be the end of civilization.
Get ready
I've spotted him!
for the 23rd big screen appearance of the world's biggest star. Godzilla! From TriStar Pictures and Toho Company Limited. Catch the ultimate showdown
It's an alien!
where winner takes all. Godzilla 2000. If you can't take the heat, run.
Now it's played. Now it's played?
It is played now, yes.
Okay, I do have to pee. Is it okay if we take a quick break?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. I'll be right back.
Okay.
That's cute.
It's just a little bit of hold music,
I love it.
Yeah, all right. So anyways, we watched Godzilla 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before you actually me, I am aware that this movie actually technically came out in 1999. However, it has 2000 in the name, and it came out in like December 14th something 1999. I don't,
But it didn't come out in the actual year, 2000.
It had about 2 weeks of run in Japan December 11th. And actually it did come out in the United States in August of 2000. So most of it's and apparently Greece didn't get it until 2014 on the internet.
Oh, shucks.
That's interesting.
So the version that we watched came out in the year 2000.
Yeah, the American dubbed version, yeah. But even the Japanese version,
dubbed version.
yeah, even the Japanese version only played for about 2 weeks in in Japan in 1999 before the turn of the millennium. So, whatever. I'm counting it.
It's my podcast. I can do what I want with it.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean that's fair.
The only person that can have anything to say about it is you.
And the only thing that I can do is just not record my half.
Yeah.
You can still talk about it all you want.
That's true. Now that being said, I don't have a whole lot to say about this movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, as far as like recalling the plot goes, not gonna take much time. So I was thinking it might be more interesting to actually talk about all the different characters that we get to experience in this Godzilla movie.
There were characters in this movie?
Yeah, did you miss them?
Sort of. Yeah, no, the plot is, like, I'll do a real quick rundown here. There's a guy and his daughter that run a business called, like, the Godzilla Prediction Agency or something like that.
Unit.
Yeah, they predict, the Godzilla Prediction Unit. They basically use seismic meters to kind of measure when there's more seismic activity, when Godzilla might show up again. And he shows up, and then there's also a rock at the bottom of the ocean that's an alien spaceship that gets its energy from light, and it tries to, steal the internet from humans in order to turn into a giant crab monster and assimilate Godzilla so that it becomes more adapted to our atmosphere.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, it's like big rock at the bottom of the ocean, turns into giant crab monster, fights Godzilla, Godzilla wins.
Yeah, it's essentially it's an alien takeover.
Yeah. It's every Godzilla movie. And I think that's why I'm like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do Godzilla movies anymore on this podcast.
Because they're all the same.
They're all the same. This was like the 23rd Japanese-made Godzilla movie.
That's so many.
Yeah.
And they're all
so
the same.
many. And it's the second reboot of the franchise since after 1985's The Return of Godzilla, and it ignores all the previous continuity except for the original film.
Cool.
So the Japanese were doing these retroactive reboot kind of things way before the Americans got on board.
Clearly.
You don't need to know that to watch the movie.
No. Of course not.
No. Like, as far as you know, Godzilla's been fighting Mothra and Rodan and Mechagodzilla every week since the 1950s. And yeah. And this was a fun fact. This was the final practical Godzilla, I believe.
Oh, this is the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, so sad. I love seeing the dude in a rubber suit.
Me too. And I gotta give it to them. The rubber suit looks really good in this one.
Yeah, not bad.
Especially at night.
Yes, especially when you can't see it as well.
Yeah.
And when you're not looking at its face.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what lighting does.
Ooh, speaking of the face, though, the first glimpse that we get of Godzilla in this movie is pretty phenomenal, in my opinion. It's a dude in a lighthouse talking to someone on the radio, being like, "Oh, we can't get a hold of this boat. Don't know why." And then he's like looking out over the water. The water's being gently lit up by the lighthouse, and then all of a sudden, the light goes dark, and the light comes back around, and it's just, you see the ship like floating up in front of the lighthouse, and it is this really slow pan over the ship, and then you get to the little snoot of Godzilla, because the boat is in his mouth, and then it pans up to his big, full teddy bear eyes.
Yeah.
And then it's a freeze frame, a fake gleam of light reflecting in the eyes, and then the title card comes out of that gleam in his eyes. Godzilla 2000.
It was fantastic.
So
I
funny.
actually really liked the opening sequence.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, cheesy dubbing aside, it's like this guy and his daughter, they're in a van. She's setting up like a radio relay tower kind of thing, and they're using like a 90s computer in the back of the van, and they're like, the photography lady's there. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, we're using seismic, sensors to predict when, Godzilla might come. And so if you see any shifts in whatever, then you know that this is. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Okay, so they've got like and she's a reporter. She's there to take some pictures of Godzilla so that she can get on the breaking news beat, I guess, right?
Yep.
And then Godzilla kind of shows up, and they got to run away, and it's dark, and they end up coming face to face with Godzilla, and she snaps a picture, and the Flash like freaks him out, so he roars really loud and breaks all their windows.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is like a cool sequence, it's reminiscent of the old Godzilla in the suit kind of stuff, but they're using a bit more modern technology, and their green screen comping doesn't look great.
Oh, it looks horrible.
Yeah, there's some shots that work better than others, but
for sure.
And that's another reason why I think the nighttime scenes look a lot better, because you can't see the like horrible comping outlines of Godzilla. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, no, it definitely the setup is intelligent. And it has the dated charm to it that I would expect from any Godzilla movie I'm watching.
Yeah, especially the Japanese ones, right? Like you kind of want that cheesy, guy in a rubber suit.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's the movie's winking at you, and you got to just go with it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the some of the dubbing is didn't try very hard. But the worst of it is right at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Either I got used to it really quickly, or it does just get better as the movie goes on. But
I think it's kind of like Shakespeare. Your ear just kind of tunes into it as the longer you watch,
Yeah, that's fair. Your brain adjusts for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was honestly like the characters were simple,
yes.
And there was only one, well, I guess like two that I would consider dynamic in any way, but like while we didn't get a ton of them because the plot is Godzilla fighting a monster, there was other stuff going on, and I did find myself starting to actually give a shit about some of the characters, which I thought was really interesting. Because we've got our main character is the dude. I don't remember any of their names, by the way.
I think the woman's name is Yuki.
Okay, cool. Sounds about right. You gonna look it up now?
No.
Okay, cool.
I mean, do you want me to? Would it make it easier?
No, I don't care.
Okay.
So we've got our main characters are what you've mentioned. We've got the single dad, with his very young daughter who is, like taking care of the technical shit.
Yeah, she runs the business end of their company.
Yeah, for real. It's impressive and endearing, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like there's even one point where like there's a breakthrough, and the dad calls her and is like, "I need you to bring over this, this piece of data, this data disk stat." And she's like, "I have a lot of summer homework to do. Are you going to help me with it later?" And he's like, "Yes, I promise I will." And it's like, "Okay, fine." And then, does what he asks. But, yeah, that's, I thought that was a fun, interesting dynamic. It is alluded to because, we've got, some other main characters. I'll get to those first. We've got the reporter lady who is kind of a shit. And is just, is like tagging along with this unit, with the father-son or father-daughter duo, sorry. Just to, get the picture, get the scoop, and further her own career, and doesn't really care, about other people that much, it seems. But her character does evolve a bit through the story, and through her exposure to this, father-daughter duo, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Other main characters are, who is essentially the villain, because it's not Godzilla.
No.
and like his essentially right-hand man. And so like this villain, the right-hand man, and the father were all university students. They graduated together, were scientists together. And then an aspect of their work became unethical to the dad, and the dad left.
Yeah. Fun fact, the dad's name is Yuji, and the woman's name is Yuki.
Oh.
And his daughter's name is Mayu.
Mayu.
So anyways, I
Yuji,
thought that was
Yuki.
Yuji and Yuki.
Huh. Cute. So there is this like history between these three characters, the villain, the right-hand man scientist, and the father. And the villain is like in charge of a unit that's meant to essentially protect Japan, and by doing so, they want to kill Godzilla.
Yeah.
Where the dad's like, we have so much we can learn from Godzilla. You know, it's a living thing. Like, obviously, he needs to be contained. I understand that, but just killing him outright is a huge waste.
Yeah.
And unethical. And the villain dude, who just has huge eyes the whole time, he's just bugging out. I'm pretty sure he was on crack. Just the whole movie.
It was the 90s. Everyone was on a little bit of crack.
Yes, I know I was. 8-year-old me. Just woof.
It was a dark time in your life.
Yes,
we don't have to get into it. It's fine.
Yeah, no. I'm better now. I'm better.
Yeah. Now you just drive around with it under the seat of your car.
Yeah, I don't do it. I just like the thrill.
Yeah.
Oh, so weird. Anyway, Bug Eyes just wants to kill him. And then the right-hand scientist dude, actually starts to show confliction. It's a word. Look throughout the movie, where he's like starting to realize that what they're doing is unethical, and the dad, Yuji, is starting to kind of like get through to him, and eventually he like tells the villain dude that they need to stop. Like, this is too far, and the villain dude obviously ignores him and tries to blow shit up. But there is like that dynamic shift where like this one person changes his point of view to align with our main character, and like regrets his involvement in unethical work. And the in the very end, the villain character, I feel like, also has a bit of that realization where Godzilla is stomping over towards them when all is said and done, and he just stands his ground and is like, no, fuck it. Like, Godzilla,
I've never seen Godzilla this close before.
Yeah, Godzilla comes out, everyone starts like fleeing. They're on like a big balcony really high up, so Godzilla's face is like right there, and he just gets out a cigarette, lights it up.
Yeah.
And delivers that line. And then the main character is like, obviously goes and like grabs him and tries to like pull him away as Godzilla is sinking his claws into the balcony, and it's starting to collapse. And the villain just punches Yuji in the face.
Yeah.
To get him away is why he does it. And he just allows himself to be taken by Godzilla, because I think he realizes that that's what he deserves.
It's really funny. Cause he gets like crushed, taken, falls off the building by Godzilla, and there's like an awkwardly long beat, and then the dude, like the Yuji, like jumps towards the edge and like holds his hand out to try and like catch it. The dude's gone.
Oh yeah.
He's gone. And he's like, what's the character's name? I have the list up here. Katagiri. He's like, Katagiri, and then it's like, dude, he's so gone. Like, there's nothing you can do. But then my favorite line, the ending line, of dialogue in the movie. This is my favorite thing that's ever been said by anyone on screen.
Me too.
Godzilla's walking away, and Yuki goes, "Why does Godzilla keep protecting us?" And Yuji is like, well, I guess it's because Godzilla is inside each one of us.
Bravo!
And then right after he says that, Godzilla just unleashes atomic breath and just starts torching the city. Credits.
It's incredible.
There's such a drastic tone shift. Gotta imagine the actors are on set being like, "Really, I have to say this?
Yes,
Really?"
It's
And then
good.
the American cast in the dubbing booth is like, "Really, I have to say this?"
Honestly, that was my favorite part of the movie. It ended on the highest note for me.
It was that and the dude driving his scooter on the beach were the two funniest things in the movie for me. Because
Scooter
it
on the
looked,
beach? I don't remember that.
yeah, when the army is like trying to like blow up Godzilla with like shooting just rockets at him, he goes to collect samples of Godzilla's flesh that have been blown off by the missiles.
Oh yeah.
And he's like on a moped on the beach in this like really soft sand, not making any progress. It is so funny to watch. I was in stitches watching this because it's like shots of Godzilla walking, in the bay, and like there's jet fighters coming, they're shooting missiles at him, and he's like blowing up and there's like huge sparks and flames flying off him, and then it just cuts back to like this dude just like struggling so hard to get his like scooter through the sand, and it's like, dude, just get off and walk. Like, it would be so much more effective for you to just not do what you're doing right now. So funny. And then of course it cuts back to the general like fire, like firing the tanks at him, and he's blowing up, and then like he's dragging
really
that
good
scooter.
Godzilla, by the way.
Thank you. He's like dragging that scooter through the sand, and just
Oh man.
but
Some golden moments like that, man.
yeah, but like that scene in particular, this is why I think it looks better at night. They've got these shots of helicopters that are clearly comped into. It's like a stationary element that they shot against a green screen, and then they used an actual like helicopter footage as like the background plate. So the background's moving up and down, and the helicopter's just staying right where it is. And then same with Godzilla, like he's in the water, and the helicopter is like flying around him, but he's staying in one place.
Yep.
And even there's one where there's like a backwards tracking shot of like the helicopter flying away, and Godzilla's sort of like walking forward, like onto the land. And he's just kind of moving up and down. It's rough. Yeah, they should have just used miniatures.
Yeah.
or learned how to green screen better.
One or the other.
One of the two. But it was the late 90s. The only people that were really doing that kind of stuff were, I guess, ILM and maybe, I guess the people at Weta Digital were starting to do that for Lord of the Rings, but.
Yep, not for this movie.
No.
Yeah,
But
so
I did like the
go
look
ahead.
of the suit though.
Oh yeah,
overall. It was a pretty cool looking suit.
I mean, again, the eyes were terrible to me, but yeah, the suit, the spines. I thought, or is that what they're called? Spines?
Sure.
Scales? I feel like
Like
there's
on
a
his
word.
Spines, I would call them
The
dorsal spines.
yeah, that sounds right.
Sure.
That looked pretty cool. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the first part of the movie is Godzilla's there and they're trying to fight Godzilla because Godzilla wrecks shit, which is legit. But then like you mentioned, there's the meteor that fell into the ocean that they go to take, and then it like floats on its own and it's doing weird shit, and it turns out that there's just a spaceship inside there.
Yeah.
And the spaceship really reminded me of something. There is a video game for the Nintendo Wii called WarioWare.
Yes, I'm mildly familiar. It's kind of like Mario Party.
Sort of, but not really. It's just kind of like if Mario Party was on LSD. It's really insane. It's
but it's like a bunch of
nonsense.
mini games, right? Essentially.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
You don't move around a board like you do in Mario Party, but yeah,
But is there
lots
a
of
plot?
crazy mini games. Is there a plot? That's a good question. I think no.
Not important. Whatever.
But there's one particular game that you can play, a multiplayer game, where one of you's holding the Wii controller and one of you's holding the nunchuck plugged in, and you're both using those to, like, you're holding it like a paper airplane, and you're flying a ship, and you have to, like, try not to crash into each other and try to not crash into obstacles that you're, like, flying through.
Yes.
Except the spaceships that you're flying are just noses. And that is exactly what this spaceship made me think of.
They're just noses.
They're noses. Like, if you removed the nose from the front of your face, and then, like, the top part is the front of the ship.
And the nostrils are facing...
And those
back.
are the exhaust ports. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I saw this spaceship, and I was like, oh, that's a nose.
I think Miyamoto does a lot of drugs.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like the
Maybe,
kind of guy that would just, like, trip out on LSD and be like, I've got it.
I mean, it would certainly explain a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Allow me to-
the spaceship's a nose.
Yeah, okay.
It even does specifically have a nostril. That it blasts energy out of. It flies up to Godzilla, nostril first, and just sprays him with snot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Godzilla's in about 3 scenes in this movie.
The
Which
last
is
one
weird.
lasts a long time, at least.
It's true. And this is kind of like every Godzilla movie. Godzilla shows up a little bit at the beginning. He's nowhere to be seen for the rest of the movie. And then at the very end, for like the last 30 minutes, it's no dialogue, all Godzilla just fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And every Godzilla movie takes this path. And so I thought it was really funny that when the Godzilla movie came out in 2014, people were complaining, like, there's not enough Godzilla in it. He only shows up like once at the end. And I'm like, have you seen a Godzilla movie?
Clearly not.
Other than the 98 Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie, which, to its credit, has a shit ton of Godzilla in it.
It's true.
There's a lot of Godzilla in that movie. So, if you want to see a fuck ton of Godzilla, go watch that one. But,
But a classic
Yeah,
Godzilla? No.
No. It's all... He shows up a little bit at the beginning, so you're like, oh, right, it's a Godzilla movie. And then there's, like, an hour and a half of scientists talking about how to kill Godzilla or whatever monster is attacking Tokyo that week. And at the end, Godzilla just shows up and does it for them.
Yep. Like in
And
this
then,
one,
like,
it was them trying to figure out what to do about this alien spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was trying to, again, absorb their power and also maybe the internet.
Yeah, it was absorbing all their information. It wasn't like copying their information, it was stealing it.
Yeah.
Like it was draining the information so that there was nothing there anymore.
Yeah.
Which is like actually kind of scary.
Yeah, and then it tried to copy Godzilla too at one point because it wanted to become acclimated to the atmosphere of Earth.
Because I guess there was a being inside the ship, and it wanted to. I think it had Godzilla envy. It saw Godzilla stomping around, strutting his stuff, swinging his tail.
Yeah, it
And
saw
it was
that
like,
big
damn
Godzilla
I
energy.
want that for me.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, so they like try and blow up the space. Like the spaceship kind of attaches itself to this building in Tokyo, and it's like stealing information. So they like put a bomb in the building or something.
Several bombs.
Several bombs.
Yep,
And
and
try and blow up
Yuji
the
was still in
spaceship.
there.
Yeah.
Yuji was still in there, and the villain guy. That's the moment where like the right hand scientist is like, no, we have to stop. This is too far. Yuji's still in the building, and the villain's like, give the command or whatever,
Yeah.
And then he blows it up, and then of course doesn't really affect the ship at all. And also
No.
Yuji barely makes it out, which actually this is another moment that I really love. Yuji barely makes it out. Yuki and Yuki was with his daughter.
Yeah.
Another quick side note, another aspect that I really enjoyed about this movie, we've got a single dad, and thrust into his life is this young successful, well, sort of successful, woman. And
she's on the grind. She'll make it one day, but she's hustling right now to try
she's working hard. She's hard working.
Get on the news beat.
Yeah. And he's got a daughter, and they go through some serious shit together. And it would have been very easy to just slap a contrived romance on top of that.
Oh, if this was an American movie, 100% they would kiss at the end.
Yeah, easily. But no, they just they survive this together. There's one scene where he's hugging his daughter and Yuji and Yuki just share a genuine smile. That's the extent.
Yeah.
Because that would have been totally forced, and they don't do it. And I really appreciated that. Maybe they're just friends, because they can be.
Yeah, they went through some stressful shit together, In a way, they're the only person in the world that can understand what the other person has been through.
Yeah, and that's special.
But that doesn't mean you got a bone.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was nice. But
that was nice.
I was tangenting off of he survives, he makes it out of the building, and then he goes to the balcony where
I know where
the villain is.
I love this
and
too.
he opens up the door just dirty and messy. The spaceship's still standing. The villain is there, and he just busts in. He's like, "Nice try, asshole."
Yeah. Fucking loved it. It was so good.
Oh, it was so funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. I think and so then after the explosion happens, then the spaceship turns into the giant crab monster.
Or the monster, maybe it didn't have a material form or something. Some weird light shit comes out of it, and it starts scanning Godzilla after bringing a building down on it, so it's currently dormant.
Yeah.
And then turns into a weird bubble thing, and some weird kind of legs come out of the bubble thing. It takes a little while for it to actually
I think I missed most of that. I looked down to write a note probably, and then I looked up and there was a big crab monster there. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a bit of a sequence of it turning into its crab monster form, but yeah, then there's a giant alien Godzilla wannabe.
Yeah. I love the way Godzilla decides to kill it though.
Oh my gosh.
So it opens up its mouth into this huge fleshy, what do you even call it?
I don't know what you would call
mandibles.
That. Sort of, yeah. It unhinges its jaw super wide, but then it's almost it looks like an anus.
Flytrap.
Yes, it does it does look like a Venus flytrap in the end, but at first it unhinges its mouth, and then it just looks like there's an anus in its throat.
Well,
and the anus slowly uncurls and becomes this huge Venus flytrap face with little teeth at the end.
Yeah.
And
then Godzilla's response to this is to shove its head all the way up it.
He just walks straight forward. He's like, all right, I'm going in.
It's weirdly sexual.
He enters.
Yeah.
The crab monster presents, and Godzilla enters.
Yeah, and he basically just shoves his head in there. The monster starts to try and copy him, and then Godzilla just heats himself up using atomic power, I guess.
Radiation.
Till he's glowing
plasma.
red. Yeah, it's kind of like what it happened. The same thing happens in the new American Godzilla, King of the Monsters. That's a stupid movie. I fell asleep in that movie.
I know, we've talked about it before.
Yeah, real dumb. But anyways, just starts glowing super hot, and then the creature just explodes.
Just blows it up from the inside.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
kind of
when you're
epic.
Godzilla was inside us all along. I get it now. Makes sense.
Oh, because he was... Yeah, okay. Because Godzilla just charges headfirst inside your heart.
Yeah.
And then blows you
Oh
off.
my god, what a fucking dumb movie. I think here's the problem that I find with all the Godzilla sequels, why they're not interesting. The first Godzilla movie was made in 1954. It was right after the Americans dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. It was a reaction to how, history was kind of changed forever, especially in Japan. They're dealing with the fallout, no pun intended, of having 2 nuclear bombs dropped on them, right? And that's never been done since in history. Like, no one's ever dropped another nuclear bomb on anyone else because maybe they went a little too far.
Maybe
is kind of the general consensus. But so, in that first Godzilla movie, Godzilla is an allegory for nuclear weapons and the devastation that they caused that country. And every Godzilla movie since then has nothing to say. It's like you've already made the allegory to nuclear weapons and the devastation that they cause. Now it's basically just every Godzilla movie is just like every Power Rangers episode. It's just big old monster has to fight another big old monster, and that's it.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's some good insight.
Yeah, and there's no like what could this movie possibly be trying to say that like storing our information on computers is a bad idea? Like,
make hard copies. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's that all life is sacred, except aliens.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck aliens.
If
there are any aliens listening, I sincerely apologize. I did not mean that. And also, get in touch with the show. You can email us at retrocrappod@gmail.com.
I, for one, welcome our new ant overlords.
Mouthful of tea.
Yeah. So, I think those are all the notes that I made.
Yeah, that's all the notes I made too. Weren't that many.
Stop making Godzilla movies, I guess. Although actually I have heard that so I think the American Godzilla movie came out in 2014, and I think there was a Japanese movie that either came out the same year or the year after called Shin Godzilla, and I've heard that movie is actually really good.
Interesting.
And so I haven't seen it. I can't comment, but I've heard really good things about it. People saying like this is the only good Godzilla movie since the first one, kind of. So,
cool. Well, maybe it's not don't stop or maybe it is. Hold on. Instead of stop making Godzilla movies, maybe it's just try a little harder to make a good Godzilla movie.
Only make a Godzilla movie if you have something to say other than Godzilla needs to fight another giant crab monster or something.
Yep.
So, yeah. Those are my thoughts on Godzilla 2000. We did it.
We did it. Godzilla 2000. Down the hatch.
Our retrospective of the distant future, the year 2000, is almost up.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd make it this far, but you know what? Fuck it. We're almost there.
Yeah, this was the penultimate episode.
Yeah, season 4 of this show, baby.
Ooh.
Is almost done. Next year, we're going to go back to doing normal stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, this one, it came out the year 2000, but it made me reminiscent of all of the just super old shit that I'm used to watching.
It has that, 1960s Godzilla energy for sure.
Absolutely. For sure.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if the Godzilla energy has really changed that much over the 6 and a half decades of Godzilla.
Wow, 66th. Again, happy birthday, Godzilla.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Please stay over there on in the ocean on that side of the planet.
Yeah, please. Yeah. So that's Godzilla 2000. I think it's gonna be the final Godzilla movie we watch for a long time.
Yeah. Is this the first? Oh no, it's not. It's not. I was about to say, is it the first franchise we've revisited? But obviously, Power Rangers beat Godzilla to it.
Yes, this is because this is actually the third Godzilla movie we've done. We did King Kong versus Godzilla, and we did, which is funny, the only movie on this podcast we've ever reviewed that is in the Criterion Collection.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because for Criterion 1000, they put out like 15 Godzilla movies in a ridiculously oversized book that's impossible to put on your shelf anywhere. But I bought it.
Sure did.
It's amazing. And then we did the Matthew Broderick American Godzilla as well.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So that's it. We're gonna be back next month with reindeer games. Just in time for the holidays, the Ben Affleck, Charlize Theron classic, directed by notorious asshole director John Frankenheimer. So
we're in for something.
His final film, and then next year we're gonna get back to business, doing some classic shit, maybe some new shit. I've started making my list already. I'm gonna throw it over to you. We'll do this off air, but I'm gonna throw over to you my list that I've gotten so far, and I want to hear your if you got anything you want to watch.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
So yeah. That pretty much. Oh, we got to rate the.
I was about to say what rating do you want to give Godzilla 2000?
I don't know, if I'm being fully honest. Like,
yeah,
it's.
I mean, I can go because I got mine.
Yeah,
prepared.
maybe you go.
I also wasn't quite sure after I'd finished watching the movie, but during the course of recounting, there was just too much about it that made me laugh so hard, and even just for those closing lines alone, I'm gonna put this one as craptacular.
It's craptacular.
Because I think it's hilarious, and I would definitely have people over and watch it again when the world is safer.
Yeah, those two closing lines,
fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing. We should mention, by the way, also this movie is free to stream if you're in Canada. It's on ctv.ca.
Yeah. Fun surprise.
Yeah, so that was neat. They've actually got some good shit on there. I don't know if you looked through any of their other movies, but
no, I haven't.
Yeah, there's some tight shit. They got like The Craft, and there were some other ones that I saw on there that I was like, oh, weird. Oh yeah, there was like a really strange, like they have the movie Head, which is like the Monkees movie.
The Monkees made a movie?
Yeah, well, they were trying to capture, like
trying to be
Beatlemania,
Yellow Submarine and stuff.
Yeah, they did a movie called Head, which, funnily enough, is also in the Criterion Collection, and I own it. Anyways, yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm gonna say it's craptacular.
Yeah, nice.
If it
got another one.
If it didn't end with those two lines of like Godzilla, why does he keep protecting us? Well, it's because Godzilla's inside all of us. Cut to Godzilla just decimating the city.
That's too funny.
That put it over the edge. If it didn't end with that, one big pile of shit for sure.
That's fair. That's the tipping point.
But yeah, you know what? That's the secret to good movie making. If you send the audience out on a high, they'll be kinder to you.
It's true. It's very true. Yep. That and the nice try asshole moment where
let's try asshole.
Golden.
That was fun. So yeah. We'll be back next month with Reindeer Games. I think we're watching the director's cut because it's the only version I can find. So it probably means, unfortunately, it's longer. So sorry in advance. So if you want
longer for us, not for the listener. So
no, I was apologizing to you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
And I mean, if you want to watch along with us, listener, there you go. It's the director's cut. That's pretty much it for the show, I guess. We are available on all. Okay, I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna do it good.
All right.
We are available on all your favorite podcast listening apps: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Go check us out there. A lot of people have been finding the show on YouTube, actually, it sounds like. So that's great. You can find us on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at RetroCrapPod. If you want to email into the show, we are retrocrappod@gmail.com. So yeah, that pretty much does it for us this week. Did I get everything? Oh, we got a Patreon.
Yeah.
You have a Patreon. There's commentaries, some bonus episodes, and yeah.
And yeah.
I think that's all we've got out there. Bonus episodes and commentaries.
Yep.
And yeah, we are going to be doing hopefully a commentary for The Rise of Skywalker at some point. I don't know if we're going to get to that before the holidays or not, but hopefully in the new year we can get that up there. So if you want that, I think it'll cost you $3 to join.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah. That does it for us. Matt, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, in that case, thank
wanted to
you
make you
everyone for listening to
Just
the show.
delay the show ending.
All right. Well,
so
this
that it
doesn't
goes
count
longer.
towards my total time. Then this is. I'm getting bonus
Yeah,
points.
I'm fucking up the curve. Yeah.
Fuck up my curve. All right. Yeah. Until next time. Thanks for listening, and keep watching crap.